There is something strange about human beings. We can walk away from places, yet remain prisoners. We can leave a difficult job, yet carry its fears into the next one. We can move into another city, another country, even another continent, and still hear the same voice whispering, "You're not enough. Don't risk it. Stay where it's safe." If the prison has no walls, why do we keep living as though it does? Perhaps the strongest chains are the ones we can no longer see. Imagine an elephant when it's very young. It is tied with a strong rope it cannot break. Day after day, it struggles, it pulls, it resists, it fails. Eventually, it stops trying. Years pass. The elephant becomes powerful enough to snap that rope in an instant, but it doesn't. Not because the rope is stronger, but because the story is. Whether or not every version of this tale happened exactly this way, it illustrates a real psychological idea. Repeated experiences can shape what we expect is possible. How many of us are living like that elephant? Not trapped by today's reality, but by yesterday's conclusions. The human brain is extraordinary. It helps us learn, adapt, remember, but it also loves efficiency. The more we repeat a thought or behavior, the more natural it begins to feel. Think of walking through a forest. The first time, every step is difficult. Branches block your way. The ground is uneven. But if we walk the same route every day, a clear path begins to form. Our mental habits can work in a similar way. The thoughts we repeat become easier to think. The reactions we repeat become easier to repeat. That is why changing your life often feels uncomfortable at first. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are creating a new path where none existed before. Listen carefully to the words people use. I'm just an anxious person. I'm terrible with money. I'm not creative. I'm not a leader. Notice something. These are not descriptions of a moment. They are declarations of identity. And once we attach our behavior to what we believe we are, we unconsciously begin defending it. Even when it hurts us, because changing a habit is difficult. Changing an identity feels like changing ourselves. But here is the question. What if your identity is not a prison? What if it's a story still being written? Every life has a narrator. For years, many of us never realized that that narrator is not always telling the truth. It remembers our failure more vividly than our growth. It magnifies embarrassment. It minimizes courage. It predicts defeat before we've even begun. The narrator sounds convincing because it speaks in our own voice. But here is the remarkable discovery. You can listen to that voice without believing every word it says. That moment, when you notice the story instead of automatically accepting it, is where freedom begins. Perhaps freedom doesn't begin when your circumstances change. Perhaps it begins the moment you ask, is this belief true or merely familiar? That question has changed the course of countless lives. Not overnight, not magically, but one decision at a time, one thought at a time, one courageous step at a time. Because every path begins with a single step away from the story that no longer serves you. And maybe the invisible chains were never made of iron. Maybe they were made of unquestioned beliefs. In the next chapter, we will explore why even after we recognize our own invisible chains, we often become our own jailers. Until then, keep questioning, keep growing, and remember, some questions don't just change what you know, they change who you become.